Harris rips Trump as Warren jabs Biden at California summit. Bloomberg Senator Kamala Harris used her home state's Democratic convention to deliver one of her sharpest critiques to date of President Donald Trump's policies and performance in office. "We need to begin impeachment proceedings and we need a new commander-in-chief," Harris said Saturday to thunderous applause. "We've seen how this," Kamala Harris speaks during the California Democrats' 2019 state convention. Harris was the first of 14 Democratic presidential hopefuls who converged on San Francisco this weekend to speak at the California Democratic Party convention. All the front-runners, Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts drew roars and stole some of Harris' thunder as she outlined her transformative platform and vowed not to settle for incremental change. "When I lead the Democratic Party, we will be a party of moral clarity, a party of courage, and a party with a backbone." California is the biggest single prize in the party's race to the nomination, and it's taken on added significance for 2020. The state's prominence gives it special significance for Harris. A home state win: Warren, former Representative Beto O'Rourke of Texas, South Bend, Indiana, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker and former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper, among other candidates, followed Harris onto the podium early Saturday. Vermont Senator Harris said Trump is deregulating and deconstructing our government and our democracy while distracting the country with inflammatory tweets and demands for a border wall with Mexico. With each candidate, Harris also tore into Trump's trade fight with China and his threat to impose escalating tariffs on Mexico if it won't halt the flow of undocumented immigrants across the U.S. border, saying the moves hurt regular Americans. "I like to call it Trump's trade tax," she said. His trade tax. Warren, meanwhile, delivered a thinly veiled swipe at Biden, who was in Ohio to speak at a dinner being held by Human Rights Campaign, the largest LGBTQ advocacy group in the U.S.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park,